Do you mind?
The Rebel 2000 from Canon.
You almost done, Dad?
No. I'm planning for your college education here.
Again?
Gotta keep track of this. Stocks, bonds, funds.
Is this a stock?
Yeah. Here's the price. Earnings over the last 10 years. PE ratio.
23.
Right.
Is that good?
Want a little guidance? Introducing the personal financial consultant from Quicken Riley, a Fleet Boston financial company.
Boom, boom. Bang, bang.
Bang, 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 bang.
Yeah.
Can I help you?
Yeah, I'd like a dozen mixed.
I highly recommend the cream-filled. 5 stars.
Well, now, if you like the cream-filled, you should try the eclairs, popular in France.
By the way, customers who bought eclairs also bought raspberry jelly donuts and bear claws.
Can I interest you in a book on donuts?
Amazon.com changed the way people shop.
I suppose you want these individually gift-wrapped?
HP technology makes it happen.
In my day, we only had glazed.
At Zales, you'll find these stunning half-carat round or princess-cut diamond earrings. Your choice, only $4.99. The power of 2 is even stronger when they're diamonds. At Zales stores nationwide or shop online at Zales.com.
Night 1 of Celebrity Millionaire.
I'm scared to death.
Alec Baldwin gambled on big money.
It's my final. Got it for $250,000.
Next up, Jon Stewart in the hot seat.
Final answer?
Yeah.
You're right.
Just how far can this guy go? Night 2 of the all-new Millionaire Celebrity Edition. Tuesday, 8, 7 Central on ABC. All they wanted to do was make music. Instead, they changed the world.
They influenced everything that I've ever done.
The Beatles Revolution, Friday on ABC.
ABC 2000, A Nation Waits continues. Once again, Peter Jennings.
So all this talk about counting and recounting by hand comes down to questions about how it's actually done and what opportunities it offers for, well, irregularities. In some ways, what's going on in Florida represents the best and the worst of American politics. ABC's Dan Harris is in Volusia County tonight. Volusia County may not be so familiar. Think Daytona Beach on the East Coast. And Dan has been following the process there.
It's simultaneously mundane and momentous. Vote counters here in Volusia County are engaged in the tedious task of scrutinizing more than 184,000 pieces of paper, with the White House hanging in the balance. They are average Americans drafted into history.
It's exciting to be here. Really, rather than mind-numbing, it's quite the opposite. It's energizing, and you feel like you're part of the process.
It's all happening in sleepy DeLand, Florida, the Volusia County seat. The government building is swarmed by reporters and regular people who are allowed to walk right into the room where the counting takes place.
It's history in the making. Nobody's ever seen anything like this before, obviously.
They work in teams of 4, 2 county employees and 2 observers, 1 Republican, 1 Democrat. If they cannot agree on a ballot, they stuff it in an envelope and give it to an armed guard who takes it over to this special committee, whose members try to divine the intent of the voter. This process is, at times, a bit confused. After all, they've never done this before. It's presided over by a local judge who does not bother to hide how overwhelmed he is.
Everybody wants me to answer every little thing, and
Republican observers say this process is a complete mess.
I think everyone's trying to do the right thing, but it's, organized chaos.
One day after last Tuesday's vote, an elderly poll worker walked into the elections office with bags of ballots inadvertently left in his car.
I went out to get something out of the rear of the car. Lo and behold, there's ballots.
And during this manual recount, county officials discovered that in one precinct, 320 ballots were not counted in the original election. They blame human error and technological problems. County officials are more than slightly defensive, worried about being portrayed to the nation as bumbling bureaucrats.
We pride ourselves on being a good, well-run, well-organized, well-managed government, and it is embarrassing to have national attention focused on us because of these problems.
This is a costly exercise for Volusia County. Officials say they're treating it as if it were a natural disaster, such as a hurricane. But this is the perfect political storm. Peter?
Thank you very much, Dan Harris. Some of that flexibility the Democrats are looking for. It's even more complex than that, though leaving ballots in the car is perhaps not prudent. Assuming nothing stops the other hand counts now underway or planned in Florida, we're talking about 1 million votes in 2 counties, which we validated on the basis of whether or not holes have been clearly punched through the ballot where the candidate's name appears. And as John Martin reports, when they're looking at that, the difference is very much in the eye of the beholder.
This is a copy of a Florida ballot, and what this giant flap comes down to in some of the biggest counties is a tiny flap of paper. They're called chads, and when voters punch their ballots, they may form a number of chads. There's a hanging door chad, meaning there's one corner of the paper or chad still attached to the ballot. There are swinging door chads, meaning they swing on 2 corners still attached to the ballot. There's a tri-chad, where 3 corners are still attached. There are dimpled chads, meaning the voter's stylus made an indentation in the chad but did not pierce it. And then there are pregnant chads, in which the chad is pierced but still firmly attached to the ballot. That's the challenge ballot counters face, to read the voter's intention properly, choosing between a fully punched hole and one that has some chad still left.
The hanging one is counted, the swinging door is counted, and the try is counted. The ones that are not counted are the ones that are just dimpled or pregnant. They're a little bit out, but they're not through.
Given the possibility of error, just what are the probabilities that the vote in Florida will be absolutely accurate?
People are looking for something like the Holy Grail, a specific number that will tell people who won, who lost this election. And we're never really going to find that out.
Just take a look at the machines.
The machines will sometimes not count a vote for the purely arbitrary reason that the chad flops back over the hole and the machine doesn't actually read the ballot as having been legitimately cast.
So what are the probabilities that the recount involving hundreds of hands and tens of thousands of ballots will prove accurate?
We can't say where those votes would have gone.
Well, there is always some margin of error, says Professor Keith Ord, who was lecturing today about the statistical results of the election.
It's certainly possible that the margin of error in the count could be greater than the margin of victory for either candidate.
Will the numbers change?
My vote counts!
Interestingly, most vote totals will rise. And why is that?
Because ambiguities that machines will not recognize will very often be unanimously recognized by human beings looking at a ballot as a legitimate vote.
Even so, the tallying is difficult.
People are holding these cards up in the sky, and they're sort of looking to see, well, is this really a hole, or could it just be like a little pinhole? Is it a vote? Is it a pinhole? What is it? And that's sort of like asking people to judge art instead of balloting.
All this has happened before, of course, although the stakes were not as high.
I thought I had lost.
4 years ago, the vote in Bill Delahunt's primary race for Congress was so close, he demanded a recount. As in Florida, the issue was punch card ballots. Machines did not tally them.
When I first heard about the number of blanks that had been cast, I was really taken aback.
After the recount, judges decided Delahunt had more votes. His opponent accepted defeat, and ultimately the state got rid of punch card ballots.
By going to court, what we did was to not only preserve the integrity of the system, but reveal the inherent flaws in a particular system. Because the machines that initially counted me out didn't count well.
But in Florida, where punch card voting remains, the election is so close it can be said to hang by threads of paper. Peter?
Thank you, John. And why is it called a Chad? There's actually a debate about that, but it's not the country in Africa. Now, we took a poll over the weekend, and one of the things that struck us was how engaged people are in this as a news story, more engaged than they've been in a story for more than a decade. So here's some more of what people are talking about.
Republicans wanted to do here was run out the clock because they've got a short lead here.
So they're managing the clock well right now?
No, they're not, because
Okay.
what's happened is they've put more time on the clock. I believe whoever the next president of the United States is will have stolen the office. Whoever it is. If it's Bush, they will have stolen it somehow. If it's Gore, they will have stolen it somehow. And how do we trust a president who has stolen the office.
So this next person to be president will just be keeping the White House warm for Hillary when she takes over in 2004.
That's correct.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact,
Because right now she's doing it.
ABC 2000, A Nation Waits, will continue in a moment.
Get the power of 3, the Intel Pentium 3 processor.
This is not a dishwasher. This is a scintillating steel conductor orchestrating every pitcher, pot, and plate into a truly magnificent arrangement. The Ultra Wash series, with adjustable racks, 24% more capacity, extraordinary cleaning ability, all performed in a symphony of silence. Exclusively from Kenmore Elite.
I just don't understand any of this.
Look, they turned us down. It was our credit. I mean, what's there to understand?
What do we tell Maria? She was so excited about the house. We shouldn't have promised her until we knew for sure.
She's a smart girl. She'll understand.
Nobody ever told us our credit meant so much.
Understanding your credit is the first step to owning a home. It's never too late to get it right. Call for the free guide on credit from the Fannie Mae Foundation and for a list of lenders and credit counselors.
There it is.
I see it! Get out!
Get the targets off! Crazy about seafood? Then you're gonna love Red Lobster. Quench your cravings with fresh fish, succulent shrimp, and everybody's favorite, lobster.
Hey! Say something for me!
Red Lobster. Go overboard.
And in business news, we are drawing closer to Ted's decision day. Sources close to Ted say that he is looking forward.
Man, this Ted must be something.
Get me this Ted.
Get me this Ted.
Get me this Ted. Come on, then.
What do you mean we haven't heard from Ted yet?
Well, I've heard he said quite a few offers.
Then play hardball, boy. Send him a fruit basket.
Hey, Ted. Any response from Monster yet?
Mm-hmm. Get your name out there. Put your resume on Monster.com.
Coming to Dharma and Greg, the big birth, the big baby naming.
Let's name him...
Sunshine Space Tweezers.
But first, they've always been from different worlds, but this
You cannot join the army.
is their biggest challenge.
Dharma, there's nothing to talk about.
Tuesday, 9/8 Central on ABC.
ABC 2000, A Nation Waits, continues. Once again, Peter Jennings.
I just mentioned the poll a moment ago. Let's give you some sense of what you are thinking. It is nearly a week since Americans actually voted, and if the novelty of this election standoff is waning, public interest certainly is not. In an ABC News Washington Post poll taken yesterday, 85% of those surveyed said they are still watching developments closely. 19% said they were very worried about the ongoing confusion. Only 19%. Most people, 52%, said they were not losing any sleep over it at all. And 65%, this is not a serious problem. It's just what can happen in such a close race. On the question of the recounts, 2/3 of those surveyed think that both candidates should accept the final Florida tally whenever that comes without further challenging the fairness of the vote in court. And the majority of both Bush and Gore supporters oppose recounts in other states. The Electoral College, by a margin of 2-1, Americans think the popular vote should decide who becomes a president, not the Electoral College. And we're back to that partisan notion of this all again. Who would they like to see emerge the winner? Pretty much a dead heat, just about as it was on Election Day. Now, the uncertainty in Florida has carried over into Wall Street. Many analysts argue that the indecision has taken a toll on the national and on the international markets. And so we asked our economics editor, Betsy Stark, to find out, as best she could, whether the timing of all this was really cause for concern.
The last thing investors needed right now was another reason to sell stocks.
and that's just what this undecided election has given them.
What worries us most about this is that there's no end in sight to this political wrangling that we're seeing down in Florida. And to the extent to which it continues, we tend to think the stock market is going to have greater and greater problems.
Problems because the presidential uncertainty comes on top of an economy that is slowing down. It's not just the dot-coms. For weeks, some of the nation's biggest and best technology companies, including Intel, Dell, and today Hewlett-Packard, have warned slower sales are ahead. The technology-heavy NASDAQ is down 27% this year, plunging 12% last week alone.
The velocity of the slowdown in the economy right now is much more important necessarily than who ends up being the next president.
Ultimately, money managers say the market can live with Bush or Gore because neither will have a mandate for change, given the closely divided Congress.
And I think the market is taking comfort in knowing that whoever the next president will be, they're going to have to be more restrained, whether it's about tax cuts, whether it's about spending proposals, and that ultimately is to the greater good of the market.
In the meantime, the fear is that the longer this election process drags on, the greater the risk to the market and the economy. The reputation of U.S. financial markets as the most stable in the world could suffer. And so could the confidence of U.S. consumers, whose free spending ways have helped drive the economic boom.
It creates an environment where both companies and consumers alike are somewhat uncertain about their future, and as a result, it makes them somewhat more unwilling to spend money as freely as they had in the past.
80 million American consumers are also stock market investors. Investors who have been watching their nest eggs lose value every day since the election.
I do think that Americans' patience for this legal slugfest that is reaching a high pitch down in South Florida right now will wear thin. And it won't take much more than a very sharp drop in the Dow Jones Industrial Average to match the very sharp drop we've already seen on the NASDAQ with the high-tech stocks to really reach out and capture people's attention and add some consequence to this game going on in South Florida.
Analysts say impatient investors worried about the money they are losing could become a powerful force, pressuring both campaigns to reach a faster conclusion. Peter?
Thanks very much, Betsy Stark. Now, to take this one step further, we're joined from San Francisco by Dr. Laura Tyson, former National Economic Advisor to President Clinton, sometime advisor to the Gore campaign, but here tonight to talk about the markets. Is this everything the markets didn't need?
Well, you know, I thought the market story was interesting compared to the poll story. The poll story suggests that Americans are not that concerned, that they trust we have a rule of law, they trust we have institutions. The market is suffering right now. It's suffering from higher interest rates, it's suffering from higher oil prices, it's suffering from poor earnings releases by a number of companies, high-tech companies in particular. I personally don't think the uncertainty factor is really playing a role here. And I do agree with the polling results, which suggest basically people are waiting to see what happens.
Why do so many analysts on Wall Street today tell us it is the uncertainty which is causing this dipping and diving?
Well, I have to say that analysts oftentimes choose short-term factors to explain market phenomena without any ability to demonstrate that the short-term factors are at play. Let me say one thing. Market analysts tend to believe that markets do not like uncertainty. This is uncertainty. However, let me say that perhaps the most certain outcome here is, however the vote turns out, we're not going to have a major change in policy relative to the policy we've seen in the last 8 years. You know what? That's good news for the stock market. The stock market has performed fabulously during the last 8 years, and a continuation of policy of the sort we've had in that period of time is good for the market. So I'm not sure why this uncertainty factor is playing into the market. I think it's other economic variables.
Okay. Dr. Tyson, thank you very much for giving us a little of your time. Uncertainty or not, it's going to be difficult for either man, whomever wins the presidential race now, to conduct policy perhaps quite the way he would like to. Now, listen again to some of what you and your friends and colleagues have been saying.
If I had known at the time that, you know, the situation was going to be like it is, yes, I would have voted.
Whoever they put in there, still not going to benefit me at all as a truck driver.
The general public, and I speak for myself as the general public, gets very upset and doesn't go out and vote when they should and things like that because their census is, why should I? Because my vote doesn't count.
Tonight's ABC News special, A Nation Waits, continues after this from our ABC stations.
Wednesday at 9/8 Central.
I'm trying to tell you that I'm late.
Drew, a daddy?
Well, then get out of here. Go get.
Imagine a house full of Carries.
I'm having a baby.
What, for lunch?
An all-new Drew Carey. See you Wednesday on ABC. Part Street Fighter, part Jet Fighter. The new 210 horsepower, supercharged Nissan Frontier. Visit your Northwest Nissan dealer today.
Papa Murphy's Take and Bake has done it again, announcing the Big Murphy. Our new stuffed pizza that's over the top, beyond the edge, just plain huge. Massive amounts of cheese, sausage, pepperoni, fresh mushrooms, and black olives between 2 layers of Papa Murphy's fresh crust. It's over 5 pounds of stuffed greatness. The Big Murphy is all the pizza you'll ever want. And right now, it's only $9.99. Papa Murphy's Take and Bake. Big pizza, big taste.
Recently, I've been urging you to remember our name, Expedia.com. By repeating our name over and over, 6 million happy travelers have logged on to Expedia.com, leaving millions of you still missing out. Perhaps the problem is my irritating British accent. So for those of you who still don't remember Expedia.com, here goes.
Book the right trip at the right price at Expedia.com.
Hope that helps. Don't just travel, travel right at Expedia.com.
You haven't seen the exploding whale? You will at 11.
ABC 2000, A Nation Waits, continues. Once again, Peter Jennings.
Well, you heard everybody say how engaged people are on this. We've been watching this strategy of the Republicans and the Democrats for almost a week now. Let's go back and review some of this with Vice President Gore and his decision last week to push for a hand counting of the votes. ABC's Terry Moran is in Washington. Terry, bring us up to date at the moment.
If Al Gore ends up winning the White House, it will likely be because he picked up just enough votes like this. By the painstaking and the Bush campaign would claim inaccurate hand counting of votes that is continuing tonight in 4 Florida counties.
While time is important, it is even more important that every vote is counted and counted accurately.
The Gore campaign's aggressive move to have ballots manually recounted was born even as Floridians were still voting. During the course of Election Day, Gore staffers in Nashville received reports from operatives at polling places throughout Florida who warned of voter complaints and ballot irregularities in several counties.
We are going to take Florida back into the too close to call column.
That night, as Florida seesawed back and forth between Gore and Bush, lawyers and staffers in the Gore campaign's war room in Nashville began planning for the recounts they felt certain would be necessary. By the early morning hours of Wednesday, they had even selected the 4 predominantly Democratic counties where they would request hand counts. And within hours, a legal team was in place, fanning out throughout Florida.
Obviously, we're starting to send some assets down there who are from the campaign.
The manual recount strategy was a product of a huge ground operation in Florida that warned of irregularities early on, a savvy political staff in Nashville that seized on the opportunities in the law, and a candidate who was determined not to leave one single vote for him uncounted. Peter?
Thanks very much, Terry Moran in Washington, who recorded that just a short while ago and has even this evening been slightly overtaken by the events in Broward County. On the Bush side, nothing seemed to break in their favor until the Florida Secretary of State made it clear she would stick by the law on the deadline of Tuesday at 5 p.m. to have the votes from all of the counties in and certified. That's all except those overseas absentee ballots. ABC's Dean Reynolds picks up Bush strategy from Austin.
The Bush campaign insists it was not surprised by the Democrats' decision to go for hand counting of votes in districts favorable to Al Gore. And officials argue that the spectacle of a chaotic recount process is helping them in the court of public opinion. Yet the campaign's decision to go to federal court to stop the hand count right after attacking supporters of Gore for filing their own lawsuits leaves Governor Bush somewhat exposed. First, the Republican suit could be interpreted as an attempt to thwart the will of the voters. Second, it undermines Bush's long-held position against federal interference in state matters. Third,
we will carry the state for you, George.
You now have the rarity of Bush suing the state where his brother Jeb is the governor. Fourth, it turns out that Texas has its own procedure for hand recounts, and Bush signed it into law. Moreover, all of these arguments are being made now and have been made for days by Gore's advocates. The Bush troubleshooters say their lawsuit is designed to bring the electoral confusion to an end, and that the Democrats' lawyers just want to prolong it. But the Bush lawyers had little choice. Experience suggests hand counting does discover ballots skipped by machines. The fact that the hand counting is going on in Gore strongholds presumably means that Gore will get some new votes.
And that's why, for the Bush campaign, so much is riding on that 5 p.m. deadline tomorrow that Florida's Secretary of State says will mark the end of all vote counting except the absentees. Peter?
Thanks very much, Dean Reynolds in Austin. By the way, watch the presidential candidate appearances themselves to sort of test their particular mood and how they think it's going in terms of this political seesaw. Mr. Bush stayed out of sight today. Mr. Gore made that public statement about asking for patience outside the White House. Mr. Bush had the press in the other day to point out that it was a responsible thing to do, to be preparing for the transition just in case. Mr. Gore was seen with his family going to the movies and playing touch football. Both men want us to see them very carefully in lights of their choosing. Back in just a moment.
ABC 2000, A Nation Waits, will continue in a moment.
She's got teeth.
Yep. 36 of them. Big things will tear through wood.
The Sears National Hardware Sale, where you'll find these Craftsman power tools just $189 each. Only at Sears.
Our business has always been about the direct relationship with the customer. That's what it's always about. What do you want to use a computer for?
I want to be able to go on the internet.
You want to download some music on the internet?
I want to download a lot of music. I want to burn my own CDs for my friends.
Into music? Come into one of our 300 stores and we'll set you up with a Gateway Essential PC for under $23 a month. Then ask us about a music package that's perfect for you.
Nothing but possibilities.
Because, you know, in Gateway country, people rule.
That's what it's all about.
I wanted to ask you a question. Audrey, do you remember me ever getting sick?
I can't remember.
Don't you think that's kind of weird? Not remembering one cold, or a fever, or a sore throat. What do you think it means? I've come to believe a rather unbelievable possibility. Are you ready for the truth?
Unbreakable, rated PG-13. Starts November 22nd.
Introducing Glade Sugar Plum Dream. Introducing Glade Holiday Evergreen. Glade Holiday Candle Scents and 2 new joyful fragrances. Created by nature, captured by Glade. S.C. Johnson, a family company.
Have your bags been in your possession since you packed them? Did you know your company's stock just jumped 13%?
No.
Did you know Geldman got food poisoning and can't make the meeting?
What?
Sir, I'm going to have to ask you to check your email before you board.
How?
Here. It's the Sprint PCS Wireless Web for Business. You can access your company's network, use email, share information in real time. And the calls are clear.
Thanks.
Thank him.
The Sprint PCS Clear Wireless Workplace. Because business can't wait.
Now through Wednesday at Zales, this exquisite 6-carat diamond line bracelet is just $9.99. At Zales stores nationwide or shop online at zales.com.
As history unfolds, ABC News is there, morning till night, broadcast to broadcast. As a nation waits, count on ABC News.
Tuesday.
We're putting this band together.
A son's dream and a father's expectations collide.
Maybe you should just put this band thing on hold for a while.
What?
And it will all come to a breaking point.
I'm not going to stand by and watch you make the biggest mistake of your life.
The critics call it first class. An all-new Once and Again, ABC Tuesday, 10/9 Central.
Friday, Macaulay Culkin, from superstardom to super problems.
Your father was described as the father from hell.
Finally, he opens up on 20/20 Friday.
ABC 2000. A Nation Waits continues. Once again, Peter Jennings.
Well, the whole country's focused on Florida, of course, but for days the Republicans have suggested if things didn't go their way in Florida, or even if they did to some extent, they might decide to make some challenges in other states as well. Here's ABC's Lynn Scher on what that might bring.
If George W. Bush loses the recount, the end of the day in Florida might simply mean the beginning of weeks and weeks of more ballot tallies, not to mention lawsuits in other states.
If the Gore campaign is going to continue to call for recount after recount after recount until they're satisfied with the result here in Florida, we may be forced to suggest that there be recounts in all of these states where we trail very narrowly.
Which ones? Well, some combination of these 4 states where the vote is close could still win Mr. Bush the election. It starts with Wisconsin. Vice President Gore leads there by just over 6,100 votes, but Republican officials have already complained to the Milwaukee District Attorney about alleged criminal violations there. The GOP's deadline for requesting a recount, it's not automatic, could be as soon as this Friday, November 17th. Before it's even clear who won Florida. Iowa is another possibility. Governor Bush is down nearly 5,000 votes there, and county officials are still going over their totals. To request a recount, Mr. Bush must personally write to each of the state's 99 county commissioners by 5 p.m. this Friday, again before the Florida count may be final. Then the Iowa recount, mostly through optical scanners, must be completed by December 4th. In Oregon, where final numbers are almost in, Al Gore's 5,700 vote lead seems strong enough to forestall the automatic recount that would come if it fell to 2,800 votes. But the Bush campaign could ask for the recount by paying $8,000 to the state by December 12th. Oregon's ballots were all mailed in this year and would be recounted by machine.
Would you all join me in a rousing New Mexico welcome to the next president of the United States?
And then there's New Mexico. As of this afternoon, George Bush held a tiny lead with a number of ballots to go. Officials have already impounded ballots statewide in case the Republicans file for a recount. Deadline to file, December 4th. A judge would decide how much time it could take to go through all the ballots electronically. What kind of chances would the Republicans have?